Hi, welcome back to Max Learning Groups. Today we are going to look at the SA1 Untitled Paper 2019. So it's going to be a paper 1 lesson, and we are unable to use our calculator, so we will have to do working onto the paper. And because it's a 1 hour paper, so which means that you will not be able to spend too much time solving the problem. So in the lesson, we will be using some shortcuts. If there is a need to use some shortcuts, then we will use the shortcuts to solve some of the questions. The 1 hour lesson is going to be quite useful to you only when you have when you have done the questions in the paper, right? So it's no point looking at the video or watching the video when you haven't done the questions yet. So I will advise you not to watch the video and do the questions first. Right? Once you have done the questions in the paper 1, then you will play the video and you watch it and to see whether you have made any mistakes, and also to see whether how to understand what you have done, right? Whether it has a mistake, and how to know what's wrong, and ensure that the next time you don't make the same mistakes again. So that is how you can benefit from the video, by doing the paper first before you watch the video. All right. So without any hesitation, so let's go straight into the lesson. And so let's look at question 1. Right, question 1. And usually the first few questions are quite easy, so they are not really very hard. So they test you on the concept, on the basic of what you have learned. So round off 541.362 to the nearest 10. So you have to round this to the nearest 10, which is 1 decimal place. So what I can do is I can draw a line to show how a 1 decimal place looks like. So if I draw a line like that, that is how it looks like, 1 decimal place. And I look at the digit nearest the line, which is 5 and bigger, so I add 1 on the next digit. So my 1 decimal place will be 541.4. Okay, so this is my 1 decimal place, and my answer will be number 2. So it's quite easy. Alright, so the lesson here is to draw a line to show how 1 decimal place look like. Okay, now question number 2. Express 0.078 as a fraction. Now there are 3 decimal places, which means that your denominator must be 1000, right? And the numerator must be 78 over 1000. So 1000, because there are 3 decimal places, so there will be 3 zeros. So your answer will be number 3. Okay, question number 3. Which of the following numbers is the largest? They are all decimals, but you cannot compare the decimal because they are all different decimal places. So you will have to change them to have the same decimal places. Then you can compare which is the largest. So if you look carefully, the largest will have to be your 340, alright, or 0.340. So your answer is number 1, which is the largest decimal. So for this question, what's the lesson? The lesson is you cannot compare the decimals when there are different decimal places. You have to make all the decimals to have the same number of decimal places. Okay, question number 4. You're being tested on how to multiply fractions. So let me just write again, 29 over 12 times 4 over 7. So in your school, your teacher will have taught you how to cancel. Alright, cancel the numbers to make the numbers smaller, because you can't use calculator. So we want to do faster. So the shortcut over here is to learn to cancel. Cancel the numbers to make smaller. So divide by 4, you get 1. And 12 divided by 4, you will get 3. Okay. Anything else we can cancel? We cannot cancel already, right? Because if you look at 29 and 7, 29 cannot divide by 7, so you can't cancel anymore. So what do we do next if we cannot cancel? You multiply the numerators. So 29 times 1, and then you have 3 times 7. Okay, so that will be your improper fraction. All right, and the answers are all given as improper fraction, so your answer will be number 4. Alright, so shortcut over here is to learn to cancel, because if you don't cancel, then you will have to work with very big numbers, and that will take a longer time. Alright, next one, question number 5. The table shows the fruits at the fruit store, and find the ratio of the apples to the oranges to the total fruits. So what's the lesson? The lesson here is the order. Alright, when you write your ratio, you have to follow the order of what comes first. So apple comes first, which is your 12. Then the oranges come next, which is 15. And the total fruits will be the altogether. Alright, that will be the last. So you add them together, 15 plus 12 plus 6, you will get 33. Alright, so the total fruits will be 33. And you put down inside your ratio. And then once you get your ratio, you will have to simplify the ratio. So you divide by 2, which you can't, then you divide by 3. So you divide by 3 and you get your simplest form, which is 4 is to 5 is to 11. So your simplest form is 4, 5, or 4 is to 5 is to 11. Alright? Okay, let's go to question number 6. And which of the following is not an equivalent ratio of 4 is to 12? Now, lesson here is when you have a ratio, how to know whether it's equivalent or not, you always get your simplest form. So the simplest form will be divide by 4, divide by 4, you get 1 is to 3. So that's the simplest form. And then use the ratio, the simplest form, to test all the answers to see whether they are equivalent. So 1/3 is the same as number 1, right? 2 over 6, or 2 is to 6, okay? 2 is to 6, simplest form will be 1 is to 3, right? Because when you divide by 2, you will get 1 is to 3. So that's equivalent. How about 8 is to 36? So 8 is to 36, if you simplify, you will get divide by 4, and divide by 4, you will get 2 is to 9, which is not 1 is to 3. So you compare the simplest form, and you can see that they are not the same. So your number 3 will be the one that is not equivalent. Alright, and of course, we do have to look at number 4. Number 4 will be equivalent. So lesson here for this question is to get the ratio in the simplest form. Get the simplest form and use that to test whether all the other ratios are equivalent. Okay, number 7. Find the base of the triangle that is related to the given height. Alright, first of all, you can see there are a few triangles here. So you will need to recognize what triangle you are looking at. And it's important that you highlight or that you know what triangle you are looking at, which is the red color triangle. So the dotted lines are not part of the triangle. Alright, once you recognize the triangle already, then you look at the height EB. So the height EB is over here, right? That's the height. Then what should be the base? Then your teacher will have taught you to use a ruler. Okay, use the ruler to find the base and the height. Alright, so if I take the ruler, how do I find the base? I put the ruler on the height that is indicated, and I move the ruler up and down, and I see whether there is a line that is parallel with the ruler or same side as the ruler. So I move up, I move down, I move up, and I will see a line. Okay, a line, which is your E, which is your what? Your EG, right? EG, or EC, right? EC. But do you think EC is the base of the red color triangle? Cannot be, because the base of the triangle is from A to C, right? And your E, right? Your EA is not part of the base. So when you indicate the base, what is the base? The base is actually AC, right? AC is the base. So don't be tricked. This is one of the common mistakes that many students make. They will put down EC as the base, but that's not correct, because your EC is not the base of the red color triangle. The red color triangle, the base is the red side. Okay, the red side, which is your AC. Okay, so lesson here is to learn how to use a ruler to find the base or the height of a triangle. Okay, let's go to the next one. Question number 8. Which one of the figure does not show AB as a line of symmetry? Alright, now for question 1, AB, the line AB cuts the picture into half, so there's a line of symmetry. And okay, answer number 2 is not very clear, right? I can't really see the diagram, but I think the diagram is something like this. Okay, I'm not quite sure. Alright, something like this. So let me just highlight. Yeah, so it will be okay. If you look at the red color drawing, so this should be the original diagram. So, and you can see the AB cuts the shape into half as well. So number 2 is symmetrical. And number 3, how does the diagram look like? Okay, number 3 I can't really see, okay, because it's not very clear. But if I look at number 4, you can see that there's no AB. Oh, there's an AB there. So you can see there's a diagram given to you, and the line AB cuts it into half. Alright, so your number 4 is symmetrical. So what is a line of symmetry? It is a line that cuts the figure into two equal parts, right? Two identical parts. Okay, for number 3, I think if number 1, number 2, number 4 is correct, then number 3 must be the wrong one. Okay, must be the wrong answer. Okay, I think I know where's the diagram. Okay, I think I know. Alright, so I think it's something like here. Okay, let me just draw out the the drawing, and it will look something like this. And I don't know whether it's correct. Okay, like this, and okay, and let me see. Yeah, and like this, and like this, and like this, right? Something like that. Okay, yeah, that's the drawing. Okay, that's the original drawing. Alright, so the line AB, if you look at the line AB, it doesn't really cut it into half. Alright, because you can see the left side, or the top side and the bottom side, they are not the same. Okay, they are not really the same. So it's a bit hard to explain over the online lesson. How to show you why is it not symmetrical? So it's a bit hard. So one way to test it is to fold the picture, right? Fold it into half, and if you can fold them into half, and like for example, my palm, right? You can see my two palms. There's a symmetry line which is over here, another symmetry. So it cuts my two palms into half. So if I can fold it, and it has only one side, you can only see one side on one side, then that is symmetrical. But what happens if you fold the paper and something comes out? Then that is not symmetry. Alright, so number 3 is what happens. Right, that is what exactly happens. So you can't fold it into two. You can't really fold it into one side of it. Alright, so it's not symmetrical. So your answer will be number 3. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Question number 9. Okay, number 9. Number 8 we did already. Alright, the area of a rectangle is 80 centimeters square. The breadth is 5 cm. So what's the length? Alright, so this tests you on your primary 3 area concept, the concept of area. How do you find the length when you are given the breadth and the area? So primary 3, you learn that length times breadth is equal to area of a rectangle. So the length is, we are not sure what's the length, but what's the breadth? The breadth is your 5 centimeter, and the area will be 80. So how do you get the length? You work backwards. 80 divided by 5, and your length is 16. So the length is 16 centimeter. Okay, so very easy for question 9. Alright, question 10. Which two lines are parallel to each other? So first of all, you must recognize what are parallel lines. There are two lines that don't meet, and they are also equal distance apart. That's what you mean by parallel lines. Okay, so which two lines are parallel? So you can look at AB, right? Let's look at AB for example, right? AB. So AB will be parallel to which line? You look carefully. How about EF, right? EF. Okay, let's see whether your AB is parallel to EF. Right. So look at this red color line, and you check the distance between them. So how do you check the distance between them? I'm going to use a blue color, and I'm going to put a dots at the end of the line, and you count the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 squares apart. Then I'm going to put a dots here, right? A dots over here, and a dots over here. And you count whether is it also 11 squares apart. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 as well. So both the two lines, they are equal distance apart. They are 11 squares apart. So your AB is parallel to EF. So answer will be number 4. Okay, so what are parallel lines? They are lines that are equal distance apart. Okay, question number 11. Okay, next one, the 2-mark question. The first common multiple of 6 and 8 is how many? Well, many students, what you do is you will take 6 times 8, 48. But this is a tricky question. So 48 is not the first common multiple. So what is the first common multiple? Use a table. Okay, a table to help you to organize your multiple. You have 6, you have 8, and there's a shortcut over here. Right, you don't have to list out all the multiples. You just look at the bigger number, which is 8, and you write down the multiples. 16. Can 16 divide by 6? Cannot. Then go to the next multiple. Can 24 divided by 6? Can. So your first common multiple will be 24. Then what's the second common multiple? Your second common multiple will be, you take the first common multiple and then you times 2. So that's the other shortcut if you want to find the other common multiples. But we don't have to do that. Alright, you just want to find the first common multiple. So your answer will be number 3, 24. Okay, so be careful that you don't take 6 times 8 as the answer. You have to have a table, right? Have a table, and then use a table to find the first common multiple. Okay, let's go to the next one. Question number 12. Find the value of the equation. So there is a plus, there's a times, a plus, and a divide. So what is important and what comes first? What comes first that is important, which is your times. Times is more important than plus. So which means that you will have to do the time first. So you take 42 times 8, and of course you do your working. So I'm going to use my calculator so we can do it faster. So 42 times 8, you will get 336, and then you write out the rest of the equation. Right, so you do step by step. Then now you have plus, and divide. So what is important? What is more important in this equation, which is the divide? So you have 27 plus 336, then plus 3. Alright, now what is important? You have plus and plus, so they are equally important. So you do left to right. So whichever comes first, you do that first. So you have 27 plus 336, and you will get 363. And then finally, you do the last step, which is the plus. So 363 plus 3 will be 366. So your answer will be number 3. So what's the lesson here? The lesson here is to do the important one first. So if you have plus and times, which is more important, you do the times first. Alright, and if there's a divide is more important than plus. So you do the divide first as well. Okay, next one. Question 13. Line graph. John was given $500 to spend from July to December, and the graph shows the money that he had left at the end of each month. Now, there's an important lesson here, whether it's a bar graph or it's a line graph. You will have to put the numbers on the line graph first before you even try to solve the problem. So July, he spent $450, and August, he spent $400. Oh, this is the money left, sorry, the money left. So in July, he has $450 left. August, he has $400 left, and then September, $350 left, and you keep going down. This is $150 left, and then this is $100, and this is $100 left. Alright, then now you can answer the question. So how much money did John spend in the month of October? So you look at October, he has $150 left. So how much money did he have at first? He must have $500 at first, right? He was given $500 to spend from July to December. So if he has $500 at first, and now he only has $150 left, then he must have spent how much money? He must have spent $350, which is your answer number 4. Okay, so the common mistake that most students will make is they will put down number 1 as the answer because they didn't read the question carefully. So the line graph is showing the money John has left every month, right? Every month. So the numbers that you see is the amounts of money that he has left, not the money that he spent. So the common mistake that you will make or students will make is when you don't read the question carefully, and then you will put number 1 as the answer. Okay, let's go to the next one. Question number 14. Okay, let's double check. So we have done 13 already. So let's go to 14. So John had 504 boxes of candies. He sold 7/9 of each. How many boxes of candies were left? Okay, so 1 whole. Right, 1 whole means all the boxes, which is 9 units. And if 9 units is equal to 504, then your 1 unit you divide by 9. So I'm going to use my calculator so we can do much faster. Of course, in the exam, you have to do your working. So your 1 unit is 56. And how many boxes were left? Now, if there are 9 units at first, or 9/9, you sold 7/9, which is 7 units, then you must have 2 units left. So your 2 units left must be 56 times 2. That will give you 112 boxes left. So answer number 2. Okay, question 15 is a primary 4 question on angles. So you'll be tested in your primary 4 topics. So you will need to revise your primary 4 topics. Okay, so let's look at the question. John make a 3/4 turn in the anti-clockwise direction, which is this way, opposite way, means you come back, go backwards. Then he turned 135 degrees clockwise. You can break up into smaller numbers. Okay, 90 and 45 degrees clockwise, which is forward, and he faced southeast in the end. So which direction was he facing at the beginning or at first? Now when you have questions like this, where was he facing at first, then you will have to draw backwards. Okay, work backwards. So you start from southeast, which is where he was facing in the end. Alright, and then what you do? Then you work backwards, you draw backwards, you look at the sentence here, and clockwise you have to turn back, which is anti-clockwise. So you turn back anti-clockwise, okay? So you turn back anti-clockwise 90, followed by another 45 degrees. Okay, so it's now facing north, right north. And then you work backwards again. You make a 3/4 turn in the anti-clockwise. So your anti-clockwise will now become clockwise. So I'm going to have a red color, and we go clockwise 1/4, 2/4, and 3/4. Right, where's 3/4? 3/4 will be here. Okay, so you have 1/4 ready, 2/4 ready, and then 3/4. So where was he facing at the beginning? So he must be facing the west, right, the west. So your answer will be what's the answer? Number 4, west. And how do you double check whether is your answer correct? Well, I'm going to erase everything. Okay, let's erase everything and let's double check. See whether is the answer correct. Now, if he was facing west at first, right? He made a 3/4 turn in the anti-clockwise direction. So you go 1/4, another 1/4, 2/4 already, 3/4, right? And then he turned 135 degrees clockwise. So that will be 90 and 45 clockwise. So where is he facing now? He's now facing southeast, which is over here. Right? So that's how you double check. So this lesson, so what is this lesson about? It's about working backwards. Alright, so you must know how to draw backwards. Okay, now next one, question number 16, which is the 1 mark question again. So round the number to the nearest 1000 or nearest 1000. So you have 4, 3, 6, 3, 2, and nearest 1000 there are 3 zeros. So you draw a line to show the last 3 digits. Okay, because 1000 has 3 zeros. So you draw a line to show the last 3 digits. And look at the digit nearest the line. Is it 5 and bigger? Yes, so you add 1. And your nearest 1000 will be 44,000. Okay, 44,000 kilogram. Right? So that's your answer. Okay, next one. Okay, express 37 is to 36 in the simplest form. So you divide by 2, you can't. You can't divide by 2, then you divide by 3. So you have 37 divided by 3, 36 divided by 3, right? And you can still divide some more. So you divide by 3 again, and you will get 9 divided by 3 is 3, 12 divided by 3 is 4. So your simplest form will be 3:4. Okay, next one. Oh, this is easy. So how do you change the fraction to the simplest form? So you divide by 2, and you will get 8:28. Yep. And then you divide by 4. Okay. And you will get 2:7. And that's your simplest form already. So quite easy to score the marks in your paper 1 for this 1 mark question. Okay, let's go to question 19. Arrange the numbers in order. So where is the largest number? Well, you look at the place value. This is 26 and 36. So one of them is bigger. So which is the biggest number? Which is 26,547. Right? And then getting smaller, 26,475. Getting smaller. So out of the last 2 numbers, which is the bigger one? The bigger one will be 25,674. and then the smallest number must be 25,476. Okay, so from largest to the smallest. Okay, question 20. Now, timeline. So you'll be tested in your primary 3 topic and primary 4, right? Primary 4, timeline. So Tom took 14 hours to build a model aeroplane. He started at 8:30 in the morning. What time did he finish building the model aeroplane? So for this question, the lesson is the timeline. So to use the timeline to find what time he finished. So you have a timeline, and he started at 8:30 a.m. and 14 hours. So there's a big jump. But when you have timeline, you don't have a big jump. You always have small jumps. So let's jump to 12:30, which is like the middle of the day, 12:30 p.m. So I jump 4 hours. Okay, so 8 plus 4 will become 12. So 12:30 p.m. And I need to jump another 10 hours, right? Okay, so if you find it's a bit hard, then you just break up into smaller jumps. So you plus another 6 hours. So that will be what time? 6:30 p.m. Okay. So you break up the timeline into small jumps. Then you need to jump another 4 hours, right? 4 hours. So 6:30 plus 4 hours later, that will be 10:30, right? 10:30 p.m. So what time did he finish? So he must have finished at 10:30 p.m. at night. Okay, so what's the lesson here is to have a timeline and break up the timeline into small jumps. We don't jump, we don't have a big jump, right? When we draw a timeline, we don't have a big jump. We always have small jumps so that we can be more careful to get the answer. Okay, let's go to your 2-mark question now. Okay, 2-mark question. Question 31. So there are 4 fractions, and which is the smallest and the largest. Now you cannot compare the fractions if the denominators are different. Okay, but we can make an estimation. We can actually estimate which is the smallest and the largest. So you look for the, alright, it's a bit hard, alright, it's a bit hard to estimate. Okay, then what do we do? Alright, if we can't compare which is the largest, which is the smallest, then what do we do? Or if we can't make the denominator all the same, because it's like very hard to make them all the same, then we compare 2 fractions at a time, right? 2 fractions at one time. So for example, I can make the 3 to become 12. 3 times 4, 2 times 4. That will be 8 over 12 already. Okay, so which is the larger one? The larger one is 8 over 12, right? Or 2/3. Okay, then what do I do? Then what else can I do? Then I can also compare the 2/3 with 7 over 9. So I make the denominator into a 9. 3 times 3 and 2 times 3, I get 6 already, right? So my 7 over 9 must be bigger than 2/3. If 2/3 is bigger than 5 over 12, then my 7 over 9 must be larger, right? Larger. And is 7 over 9 larger than 4 over 7? Yeah, 7 over 9 is larger than 4 over 7. Okay? Now, so this is how you play around with the fractions. If you can't make the denominators for all the fractions the same, then you just look at 2 of them, right? 2 by 2. Any 2 of the fractions. So you can see that my 7 over 9 is the largest. So let's put down 7 over 9. Okay? Right? And what is the smallest? So this is out already. Right? Smallest fraction is which one? So cannot be 2/3 because my 2/3 is bigger than 5 over 12. Right? So 5 over 12 or 4 over 7, which is smaller? So I will have to make the denominator the same. So how do I make the denominator the same? You can multiply the denominators, 12 times 7, right? And then this one will be times 12, alright, to make the denominator the same. So I will have 35 out of 84, okay? And then this will be 48, oops, okay, hang on for a while. Alright, and then I will have 48, okay, 48, okay, let me just undo everything, yeah, okay, alright, so what do I have? So I will have, let me see what happened, okay, it's a bit messy now, okay, let me just start again, right, because I'm confused by what I'm doing. Okay, so let's start again. Okay, so alright, so how do we find the largest and the smallest fraction? Okay, so what we do is, if we can't make the denominator all the same, then we compare any two fractions at one time. So for example, I can make the denominator to be 12, right? So I compare 2/3 with 5/12. So 3 times 4 and 2 times 4. So my 8/12 is bigger than 5/12, right? And my 8/12 is has to be bigger than 4/7, because 4/7 or 4/7, is it bigger? Is it bigger than 4/7? So you can compare as well. You can make the denominator the same if you are not sure. So you times 12, and here you also times 12. So you get 48/84, and then this will be 12 times 7 and 8 times 7. You will get 56 out of 84. So my 2/3 is bigger than 5/12, right? It is also bigger than 48/84. Then how about 7/9? Alright, so can I make the denominator to have the same denominator as 9? So 3 times 3 and 2 times 3. Oh, what happened? My 7/9 is bigger than 6/9. So which means that my 7/9 is the largest fraction, right? That's the biggest fraction, alright? So I can cross it already. So which is the smallest fraction? Alright, then let's compare the last three fractions. Now, if my 2/3, if my 8/12 or 2/3 is bigger than 5/12, then 2/3 cannot be the smallest. So my 5/12 will be the smaller fraction. So is my 5/12 smaller than 4/7? So what do? I make the denominator the same again. I times 7 and I times 7. I will get 35/84. So now you can see that 35/84 is smaller than 48/84. So which means that what is the smaller fraction? The smallest fraction, which is 5/12. So the smallest fraction is 5/12. Okay, so that's how you compare, right? By comparing two fractions at one time. Okay, let's go to question 22. Right, 22. And let's see. The following diagram shows a triangle ABC. So measure the length of the line AB. Okay, so let me take a ruler. Alright, and we are going to measure the line AB. So this will be quite simple if you have your ruler with you. Right? So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to put it onto the diagram, which is your AB. Okay, now my answer may differ from yours. Maybe different from yours because I'm using a whiteboard, a smart board. So there may be some inaccuracy, right, in my measurement. But how to measure correctly? You place the ruler onto the line AB with the 0 touching the letter A, or the 0 touching the start of the line. So the 0 centimeter is touching the starting of the line, and then you can see that the letter, the B, right, the end of the line is touching which number on the ruler. So if you look carefully, you can see that it's touching 7.12, 7.2, right, 7.2 centimeter, right? So over here, the ruler is actually you're looking at 7.2 centimeter. So your length AB, right? AB is how long? That is 7.2 centimeter. And of course, your teacher will have told you there's a plus and minus 1. So which means that if your answer is 7.3 or 7.1, you will still get the answer correct. So 7.2 cm. So how do you measure angle ABC? So now you will need a protractor, right? A protractor. And again, you must know how to use the protractor. So you are supposed to find the angle near the letter B. So you place your protractor at the letter B, okay, like this. So put your protractor at the center part of the protractor at the letter B, at the corner of letter B, and then you tilt your protractor until it is sitting onto the red line, okay. And then if the line is too short, you can draw the line a bit longer. If it's a bit too short, and if you draw a line a bit longer, it will come out. The line should be coming out, and you will be able to see clearly. And which 0 do you look at? You look at the 0 on the same side as the line, as the red color line. So the red color line is on the left side. Then you must look at the 0 on the left side. And you start counting, you can see that it's pointing at 40 degrees. So your angle is actually 40 degrees. So what is your angle ABC? Your angle ABC is 40. Alright, so again, there is a plus and minus 1. So which means that if you get 39 or 41 degrees, you will still get the answer correct. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, and question number 23. Kimberly bought 3 liters of juice. She poured all the juice into 8 small bottles equally. Equally means every bottle has the same amount. So how much juice did each bottle contain? So you will have to divide to find how much is one bottle. So you take 3 liter and divide by 8. Why you are not going to change it to ml? Because your answer has a liter there. So which means that you don't want to change it to ml. You have to take 3 liter divided by 8. And how do you do that? That is your dividing, right? You have to know how to get your decimal. So 0 times 8, you get 0, and remainder 3. And change the whole number into a decimal. Bring down the 0, bring up the decimal point, and then 3 times 8, you will get 24, remainder 6 again. So to continue dividing, you just add one more 0, and you pull down the 0, and then 7 times 8, you get 56, and there's a remainder 4, and you add one more 0, and you pull down, and then you have 5 times 8, you get 40. Alright, I got no space already, right? So you minus, you will get remainder 0. So what is how much juice is there in each bottle? 0.375. Okay, so lesson here is you are tested on how to divide to get decimal. And this is actually a primary 4 topic, right? Primary 4 topic on how to divide to get decimals. Okay, question 24. Factory made 348 toys. 26 toys were given out as prizes, and the rest were sold at $8 each. So this is your logical thinking, right? So when you have so many toys at first, which is 348, then what do? You give out 26 toys, so you have to minus, right? So when you do math, it's either plus, minus, divide, or times, right? So in this question, you give out means you have to minus already. So when you minus, you will have lesser. So you have 348 minus 26, you will get 322 toys left. And what happened to the rest of these toys? You sold them, right? The rest was sold at $8 each. So you have to multiply by $8. Okay? So I'm sure you know how to multiply. Okay, but let's just do a quick one in case you forgot how to multiply. So 322 times $8. So you have 2 times 8 will be 16. Carry 1. 2 times 8, 16. Then plus 1, you get 17. 3 times 8, 24. And then plus 1. So how much money was collected from selling the rest of the toys, which is $2,576. Alright, so not very hard. It tests you on your logic. Okay, how your logical thinking skills. Okay, let's go to question 25. Next one. What is a missing number? Same thing. To get the missing number, you always have to start with the simplest form. Get the simplest form. So you can divide by 5. And you will get 3 is to 9, and then divide some more, divide by 3, and you get 1 is to 3. And then use that to get your missing number. So what's the missing number? Which is something is to 27. So you times 9, 3 times 9, and 1 times 9. And the missing number is actually 9. Okay, so lesson here is to, like what we mentioned just now, is to get the simplest form to find the missing number. Alright, question 26. Complete the symmetric figure. Okay, I think the student has drawn the answer already. But let me just show you the original drawing. So this is your original, okay? So how do you draw the other side? Okay, now you can see that the drawing is inside square boxes. There are square boxes there. So which means that there is a reason for using the squares. So how do you draw the other side? Okay, first lesson, alright, lesson number 1 is to mark out the corners. Okay, mark out all the corners, and you are going to do some tracing, right? Tracing. Alright, now let's start with this corner. Okay, this corner, it is on the line of symmetry. So nothing can be done when it's on the line of symmetry. So we don't do anything. So from this corner, we move to the next corner. So how do you draw on the other side? You count the squares. It cuts through 1.5. Okay, 1.5 square. So on the other side, you do the same. half and 1. So same, 1.5 square as well. And this is your dots that you draw. Okay, so you join. Okay, join the dots. Okay, then from the dots, you go to the next dots. And how do you draw on the other side? And if you look carefully, you can see that it cuts through 1 square diagonally and half a square. Okay, let me just show you. 1 square diagonally and half a square. So on the other side, you also do the same. Half square and 1 square. So that's your dot. Okay, so I'm going to erase the dotted line so that it doesn't make the drawing messy. Okay, so that's how you draw on the other side. And then what do you do? Then you join. From the previous dot, you join to the next dots. Okay, now, then where's the next dot to draw? Which is over here. Alright, you can see that from this dot to the line of symmetry is half a square. Then on the other side, you also do the same. And you draw a dot and you join. Okay? And again, let me erase. Okay, erase the dots, the dotted line. And finally, you connect to the dots on the line of symmetry. So that is how you draw the symmetric figure. That's how you complete the other half. Okay, by using the square boxes to count, right? To count. Okay, so the two sides look identical. It's actually a mirror image, right? It's the same. Okay, let's go to the next question. Right, next one, question 27. Some children participated in the competition and they were grouped into 3 teams. So do we know how many children? We are not sure. They were to clear as many stations as they can, and they were allowed to clear them in any order. So only team C managed to clear all the stations. So which means that how many stations are there altogether? There must be 9 stations altogether. And the table shows a score each team received at the end of the competition. So each of the, so if you look at the table and you look at the table below, each of the statement below is either true, false, or not possible to tell. So there was a total of 20 stations. That's not true, because why? Because team C managed to clear all the stations, which is how many stations? Which is 9. So every team has to clear 9 stations. So the total station is actually 9, it's not 20. So the statement is false. Team B scored fewer points than Team A. Okay, let's look at Team B and Team A. Now, Team B and Team A. So how do you know whether each one scored, or how do you know which team scored more or less? We don't know how many points every station has, so we can't tell, right? We can't tell, right? So Team A scored 12 points. Team B cleared 5 stations, but do we know whether Team B has lesser points because there are only 5 stations? We are not sure, right? Because the question never say how many points does every station has, all right? Or how many points does every station have? We are not sure. So for this statement, that will be impossible to tell, or not possible to tell. We are not sure. Okay, why not sure? Because we are not given how many points does each station have. All right, maybe the first station has 5 points, maybe the second station has maybe 3 points, so we are not sure. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Question number 28. Okay, 27 done, 28. So we have to draw out the rectangle. So again, there are square boxes here. So when there are square boxes, what do? There is a reason for the square boxes. So we are going to use the square boxes to draw the rectangle. Okay, how do we draw? Very simple. Same thing, you draw the dots. Okay, I want to draw the breadth of the rectangle on the opposite side. So how do we exactly draw on the opposite side? You count the squares. From the dots to these dots, how do we move? You move down 2 squares to the move down 2 squares and move to the right 2 squares. So there's a pattern, 2 and 2, 2 and 2. So use the same pattern, 2 squares down and 2 squares to the right, and that's the dots that you can draw. And then you join. Okay, you join the 2 dots using a ruler. So all drawing must use a ruler, alright, and a pencil. Okay, so that's how you draw the opposite side, which is the same breadth. And then now you can join them. Okay, join them, and of course you have to use a ruler. I don't have a ruler, so so it's a bit hard for me to draw a straight line, but you will need to use a ruler. Okay, and after you draw already, it's not enough because you will need to label. So your A, B, C, and D. And because it's a primary 5, it is a primary 5 question, so there are more to this, right? What else do you need to label? You will need to label your square boxes. Okay, for example, you have to put square boxes at the corners to show that there are right angles at the corners, and there are lines that are parallel as well, right? There's one pair, and there's a second pair which is parallel also. So you will need to have all these labels, and then you'll get your full marks already. Okay, so that's how you draw and label. Okay, question 29. 61 children attended a camp. Another 11 children decided to join the camp. So how many children altogether now? So you have 61 plus 11, there will now be 72 children. And these children were then grouped into 9 groups equally. Every time you see the word equally, it means that every group has same number, equal number. So you should divide by 9. Okay, divide by 9. So you take 72 and you divide by 9 groups to find how many children inside one group. So you will get 8 children inside one group. And these children were tasked to work in pairs in each group. So every group you have pairs of students, every group. And what is a pair? A pair means there are 2 students, a pair, right? So if there are 8 children in one group, and these 8 children are paired up, right? They are paired up. So how many pairs will there be? So one pair has 2 children, so you divide by 2, you will get 4 pairs inside one group. So there will be 4 pairs in one group. Okay, so again, you are tested on your logical thinking skills. So it's about logic. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Last question, question 30. And the question 30 is usually the hardest, but may not always be. But most of the time, the last few questions are usually the hardest. So Sam bought 7 bags of cherries. The mass of cherries in each bag is 2.84 kilogram. So what can you do immediately? You can find the total mass of the cherries, right? And he found that 0.62 kg of cherries were spoiled and threw them away. So when you throw them away, that will be minus already. And then he split the remaining cherries equally into 2 boxes. And then you know that you must divide because you split, right? You divide the rest into 2 boxes. So what is the mass of cherries in one box? So you have a few operations in this problem, right? So again, it tests you on your logical thinking skills. So look at the first one. Sam bought 7 bags, and one bag is 2.84 kilogram. So you will have to times 7 to get the total mass of the cherries. So you take 2.84 and you times 7, and you will get 4 times 7 is 28, and then 8 times 7, 56. Then plus 2, you get 58. And don't forget to put down the decimal point. And 2 times 7 is 14, then you plus 5 is 19. Right? So let's double check. 4 times 7, 28. You carry 2. And then 8 times 7, 56. Then plus 2, you carry 5. Right? And then 2 times 7, 14 plus 5 is 19. So what is the total mass of cherries? Which is 19.88. Then what happened later? He found that 0.62 was spoiled and he threw them away. So you will have to minus. Okay, minus 0.62. Okay, so that's minus. Let me just write over here. So you have 19.88 minus 0.62, and you will get 6, 2, and put the dots, and 19. So what is the leftover? The leftover cherries is 19.26 kilogram. And what happened to the remaining cherries? He split the remaining cherries equally to 2 boxes. So you must divide by 2 to find how much is in one box. So you take 19.26 and then divide by 2. Okay, let's write down. So be careful with the dividing. So 9 times 2 is 18. And then you bring down you minus, you get 1. Bring up the decimal point. Bring down the next digit, and 6 times 2 will be, okay, 6 times 2 will be 12, and then you minus, you get 0, and you bring down the next digit, and then 3 times 2 will be 6, and your remainder is 0. So how much cherries? What was the mass of cherries in one box? So your answer will be 9.63 kilogram. So that's the cherries in one box. Okay? So we are done with the paper 1, right? So you can see that the entire paper 1 is not really very hard. So it's quite easy to do well for this paper 1. So, but what are you being tested in this paper 1? You are mainly being tested on your concepts, your basic and your concept, which is very important. Because if your basic and concepts are not good, then you will not be able to do the paper 2, which is more on the basic, which will test you on application, on how you apply the basic concept onto harder problems. So it's important that you must know how to do paper 1, and you must know your mistakes. So if there are any mistakes that you have made in this paper 1, then you will need to revise. You need to revise and look through and not make the same mistakes, so that when you do the paper 2, you will be able to solve the harder problems, because you are still being tested on this concept, but you will be applied on harder problems already. Okay, so we are done with the paper 1. So stay tuned to the some more lessons that are coming up. So so do remember, right? Do remember to subscribe to my channel. So okay, so subscribe to my channel, PSLE Math and MLGs YouTube channel. So and click on the notification bell button. So when I post any lesson, you will be informed immediately, right? Once I post any lessons, you will get to receive it. So it's important that you click on the bell so that you get notified any time when I post the lesson. Alright, so so that's about it. Alright, so we hope, right? I hope that out of this lesson that you have a better understanding on your basic concepts, and do remember, the only way to benefit from this lesson is to do the paper 1 first, and then once you've done the paper 1, and then you watch the video, and that's how you benefit from the lesson. Alright, so I'll see you in the next round, in the next lesson.